Well, everybody, another month, another Vinland Saga chapter, another talk with Jarkey Bacon and EliteAri, as we did last month. EliteAri has since caught up. He spent a few months knowing it all. In fact, he was ahead of me probably for the first time ever for a few days because I didn't read this chapter until today. But now we are on even footing again, so we have come here for the discussion. Bacon, say something.
I'm saying something.
Ari, say something.
Hello.
I like the bacon something
Look at this
better.
content.
Right.
We're already here. Okay.
Everybody's here.
Now,
You know who they are.
Yeah. Now, everybody that's watching, I said before we started recording that I'm not going to be talking the most this episode. It's going to be Ari that's talking the most.
hated
So
the
Ari, what do you think?
Overall
of the
thoughts,
chapter?
Ari.
Please just talk.
Get us
Yeah,
going.
come on, Ari.
I
us
thought
underway,
it was
Black Sensor.
another great chapter, as every chapter in this arc is. I don't know. I mean, it was short, as they always are, I imagine. But this is my second month here. But it's
This
great.
one was quite short. It was only 16 pages, which is like the
Right.
shortest it will be. But
What's the longest one we've
Ari,
gotten?
the 191.
Like
That
recently.
was 32.
Which one was it?
191. That was the
190.
Hild forgiveness one.
Oh, okay.
That one was like.
But it went by in a
32
flash.
pages.
Can you believe it?
Yeah.
But what were you asking the man?
Oh yeah. What were your feelings over this chapter, Ari? How did it make you feel?
How did it make me feel? It made me love Nisquadja. You know, it was great. She spoke up.
Already asked
Yep, already S tier, and now like very well deserving of maybe near the top of S tier. I really like her. Then it made me frustrated at Ivar for saying that Thorfinn is weak and like
What a
not
dumb bastard
understanding.
this
You know,
fella
terrible.
is, huh? What
So
the fuck?
dumb, my goodness. But I still love him. What a great guy. Who else? Misek Piguet. He is having his smiling.
He was
you know,
laughing.
Terrible. Made me
Can
feel.
you believe him? Another
Yeah,
bastard.
laughing. Yeah. What a guy. He wears white. He has white hair. Good aesthetic. What
love
else?
House
I
of the
think
Dragon.
Hild. I kept forgetting Hild's name when I was like, because I wrote some really simple notes for this. I was like, oh, what's Hild's name again? Can you believe it?
Actually,
I know now.
I actually can't. I can't believe it. Ari, why?
Yeah.
It's the
Because
struggles of
I'm watching too many
not
things at the
thinking about
moment.
Vinland Saga for a little while, huh? Now that you're in the month-to-month grind,
Yeah,
you're
it
starting to
is.
forget things.
Yeah.
I know the feel.
But here we are. Hild is great. And that's it. What a chapter. So much happens.
I think Mr. Heath in the chat has summed it up pretty well when he says Bug Eye's girlfriend is for real best girl. Can you believe it? What a wife he has.
Yeah.
He's 19.
Every single month we're like Nisquadja is like yeah, the ship is going strong. But please don't call the MI6 on me.
Bro, in this page she does look real short when she's like grabbing Bug Eyes' arm. I don't know which page I'm on.
She looks like a
9.
little kid. Like she is like a little crying kid. Like,
And
she
Bacon's
does
always
look like a
telling us how
child.
short these Vinland Saga pricks are. This girl's fucking 11. My goodness.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
We're going to be in some
We're just adding
trouble.
to the Twitch drama, guys, okay? Just adding to it.
I don't know if my overall thoughts would differ at all to EliteAri's. And Bacon, you probably do, so perhaps you should give a gander at the overall thoughts thingy that we do. You know?
Yeah, well, I was kind of popping off on Twitter a little bit, and
I
actually
didn't
popped
check
off
your
in the-
tweets.
in the Reddit as well. Actually, I got like my first time in a while I've been like highest appointed in the Vinland Saga Reddit, because I had a big video that I did. I was like, I wrote out the whole script of it for chapter 196, so last chapter, making a big boy prediction, being like, Misheg Piquet, he's played them all. Here's his master strategy, and here's how, you know, that interesting interaction from the last chapter has, you know, set everything up, and it's a big brain play. I'm not sure if I even talked about this in the last chapter. I'm not sure if I really had it all fleshed out. But and then it's been confirmed this chapter, and I was like, screw you all. Why do you want me to edit this big old video for you, huh? I could have been so right and felt so good about myself because I actually made a video about it, predicting that he meant for this to happen. So I hate you all, basically.
Yep.
That was it.
He did. He was cackling. We kind of already went over this, but can you believe it? Cackling after he suppresses his pain. What a shifty bastard this fella is, huh? He's not as shifty, not as evil as this Ivor basket. Basket? What a basket.
What a basket. That's such a good
I'm a little tired.
I like that.
But
I'm going to use it from now on. Oh, what a basket.
Moment of the chapter, of course, was when Hild did the Thorfinn can beat the fuck out of you, bro. But we didn't get the full payoff because Thorfinn didn't beat the fuck out of him, and Ivor was thinking it was a bluff or something. Can you believe that? I couldn't.
Yeah.
It's interesting that it was Hild that said it too, which is says a bunch.
She I love how how the drawing of her hair has a little piece of the fringe as it separates, and you can see the scar being revealed. Like her anger is being shown once again, because you see in previous chapters her hair is always covering her scar now. So it's like a little nice visual metaphor of like, oh, she's getting angry again, and so like almost like the scar reappears with her anger. I think that's a cool little bit. I think with guys, I'm doing it. I'm taking over this video.
Just do it.
I'm taking it over. I think what I see online a lot is like everybody I think feels the same, where they just really want Thorfinn to beat up Ivor. And I kind of love it that everybody thinks that, because all of us like, yes, just shut him up. Like take that sword and do what you did to that sword when he like fought Floki, and just break it over his knee. Bingo bongo, we're done, right? Just get real mad. But like that's defeats the entire point. And it's like Yukimura is like lording it over us, and I kind of love it, and I hate how he like after every chapter I'm just like, just beat him up, fight, use violence, and Yukimura is like, oh, guys, that's not the point.
They can make it a sport. They can invent the UFC so it's all moral and agreed upon, and they can have a little grapple fight, and Thorfinn will break his neck. His arm. That might kill you too, huh? This is like oldie times. I don't know, his finger.
Break a finger.
Bite it off. Yeah. That might hurt too. But anyway, it's just the old DBZ, like the Z fighters are hiding their power level at the beginning of the World Tournament, and then Android 18, or no, it's Vegeta who breaks the punching machine. What a great thing where nobody knows how powerful they are, that they actually saved the world from Cell, that we are Thorfinn, and then you finally get the reveal, and it's like, yeah, that's our boy. He's fucking sick. You idiots don't know, but he's sick. Yeah. And they just play with it forever. Where Hercule's bragging to the Z-Warriors about how strong he is, and he doesn't even know. Can you believe it? Infuriated me as a fucking 8-year-old. I'm feeling those feelings again for this Ivor bastard.
The injustice, just the injustice.
Yes.
And
it's always Thorfinn is just like Goku. I've actually likened Thorfinn to Goku. I used to do that a lot like 3 years ago, because he has such an indifference to it. Like the Z fighters don't care at all. Maybe Krillin would say something like, "Why don't we just show this prick that I can bench press a planet or whatever?" But Goku just laughs along and doesn't care at all, just like this Thorfinn idiot. He's not concerned at all. He does not share our lust to want to show this prick what's what. And I hate him for it. Vegeta would have beaten him up. That's why Vegeta's better than Goku. Bacon, your thoughts on Goku versus Vegeta?
I think I feel like Thorfinn isn't quite indifferent. I think he purposefully doesn't say.
Indifferent's probably the wrong word. He's indifferent to his pride of showing off that he's the strongest.
True. Yeah, that's true. Like they have other goals. Like Goku's there to have fun, right? He's just like, dude, let's just fight. I don't really care.
Yeah, especially
if I'm the strongest, because I just want to fight strong people. I just want to do my best, you know. So.
But yeah, Goku also didn't want the thing to get out. We don't need to go into DBZ plot details. But yes, I guess we haven't gone chronologically. I'm sure there's a bunch of little great details.
Should we go chronologically? Because I have noticed a few cool things.
Yes, we should. Nice. Do you want to lead us, Bacon?
Yeah, sure. So we open up with
this shot of the hand is great. I mean, it's going to be the thumbnail. It's so sick.
Yukimura is so good with just
his hands.
I think opening panels, just in general. Opening panels. Yeah, like just opening pages. Like if you go through most chapters, they're pretty interesting and just strong, I feel like. And of course the hand is like, it's a little bit like, like a bit of a gut punch. You're like, oh, there's a hand. It's just like cut off. It's just like, it's just a bit.
It also looks so pretty, and they sort of get into that when the other dude picks it up later and says, "This cut was so clean. It looks so prim and proper there. It looks there's almost an aesthetic to this dismembered hand and the pretty grass here." Too bad that's all ruined by the statement at the bottom. Season 2 of the anime starts in January 2013 or whatever the fuck it says. Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Get this out of here. Other than that, hands looking good.
Motion babies.
Yes.
That's what they're.
Motion bastards, I think we're going to be calling them after this one.
Oh, yeah. Baskets, I think.
Oh, yes. Motion baskets. We hate them.
Yeah.
But yes. Linnu blood is spilled in Vinland. Yeah. What have we come to here?
Yeah, and it's weird. It's like, I heard someone else say, I can't remember. Maybe it was another YouTuber that I'm just stealing off of. But it is like, we spent so long with little violence, and we spent the whole Bulg Sea War just like people ripping to each other to shreds, and you're like, oh, it's a hand, and you're like, oh, that like feels so much more grotesque, despite seeing way worse things in Vinland Saga.
Yes.
So, yeah.
There is a great mini panel, I think, on page 3. Let me see. Yeah, where Cordelia starts fainting after the squirting of the blood. I thought that was a good singular panel.
Yeah, and then you got Gudrid holding her up as well.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only Gudrid shot for this whole chapter, I think. But yeah, I think that's like confirmed that Cordelia in a fight, unless she goes like big angry mode, which I don't know how she would, like she is useless. Like
as useless as like, the woman she is, Bacon. Just say it. I know what you
say. Yes, precisely. But yeah, I was wondering about that. Like maybe that shows. I don't know, is that guy kind of happy in the background of like when Thorfinn's holding the shaman's hand? No, he's shot.
Snake cannot.
Yeah, everybody's kind of shocked by it. So like,
Silopil just subscribed for the 8th month in a row. It talked over you and said a snake could not eat a dragon. But with his Twitch Prime, we love Silopil. But keep going, Bacon.
Yeah, there's like a lot of people in the background and they seem quite shocked. So I think it is true that people generally are not used to violence in general. And I think Cordelia's a good representation of that. Like people are like, oh my word, there's actual blood. Like, just shows there.
It's even got a little squirt word there. Can you believe it? Yucky.
Ooh.
But yeah, we basically also see Thorfinn and Einar. Not Ivar. Well, Ivar, I was going to say jump into action, but Ivar did jump into action too. So it all makes sense and it was all intentional.
I guess so.
But then Ivar has a standoff. The people don't really want to help. And
they're unsure, yeah.
Wait, what did you say, Bacon?
They're unsure.
Yes, unsure. Yes. And this sort of leads into the argument. We see the Linnu people reacting too. The one fella does pick up the hand and is like, man, what is this weapon? It cut through it completely cleanly, and that was a cool part of the chapter. Probably the bit of the chapter that stands out most in my mind. I know him picking up the dismembered hand. There's just something about it. It's a weirdly off-putting, though it's kind of his like. It's off-putting to us, but his entirely like calm demeanor is also sort of reassuring of the characterization of flip around boy who's going to fight Thorfinn at some point. What's his name, Bacon?
Paulmug.
That's one of the easy ones to remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. What else?
Yeah, I mean, of course, Thorfinn goes in straight with the belt. Like his first thing is not to get angry at Ivar, which I always thought was interesting. Like you'd think that if Ivar's cut him off, like I thought the best way to show solidarity with Thorfinn is if he deals with Ivar first and starts yelling at him. But first is like compassionate, trying to stop the bleeding, because he, of course, knows war and blood the best. He knows how to deal with it, so of course he's going to go in and help them.
Yeah.
So.
It's interesting because it kind of feeds into the DBZ stuff we were talking about, where it's like he doesn't even get mad at Ivar here, like not really at all. And it's sort of like something we also want to see. If not violence, we want to see some hatred. But Thorfinn will not indulge us on that either. And it's sort of it makes Ivar very antagonistic. It makes him very easily hateable. Though Ari loves him still. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ivar last chapter, like talking about him, I think there's been a ton of Ivar hate just everywhere. I feel like I definitely want to make. I mean, this chapter 196 video I was going to say either did nothing wrong, kinda. That's what I wanted to do. Like the Griffin did nothing wrong meme, but because at least last chapter he was a lot more like, dude, he went for just the hand, like. If you like, he could have like tackled the old man, that's possible, like in terms of logistics, but like for what he actually chose to do, like he didn't kill him, he decided to do the least bit possible. So while it is predictable for Ivar, it's definitely much more understandable because Thorfinn hasn't told anybody he is protecting Thorfinn, like he's very justified in his actions. But then this next one, he just kind of goes into another, like, he's a lot more less likable when he goes on to like a rant. He just shows no emotional capacity. I feel like no empathy, and that's the issue. And I mean, his font is always like characterizes him as quite rough and rigid and strong,
big and bold,
which I think is quite interesting. Yeah, big and bold, but like he just seems so apathetic towards it, and it's kind of like, dude, you just cut off a dude's hand, like, yeah. Anyway.
It's yuck.
Lack of.
We don't like him around here, and we don't like people that like him. So, Ari, defend your boy, huh?
Oh.
Did you come out still liking him?
Well, I think I just agree with what Bacon was saying about last chapter, where it's like, I understand where he's coming from. He seems to be, he could do a lot worse than what he's done. But even at this point, when he's like rallying everyone to fight them, I think he's still like somewhat justified, I guess. I don't know. He's not too bad. He hasn't done anything irredeemable yet, is what I would say, I guess.
Yeah. Certainly in the
I
most
think
literal
also
sense,
like I think it also is much more understandable when it like almost brings the more frustration, like the fact that he got played like a fiddle by the shaman, but it makes him more like he proves the shaman's point, he proves Thorfinn's point, but then the shaman also proves his point. It's like this weird like vindication on how it's set up. But yeah, I think it's interesting, but like who's been a false sense of security, this is their true objective. This is the thing, he just wants to escalate, which I think is the frustrating thing. Like he not maybe once, but he just does. Like that's just how he thinks, and I think that's the frustrating part.
Yeah, it like emboldens him, and it emboldens it sort of forces the more what do we call it, the moderates, the centrists in each group like they're kind of fucked over here by Ivar and the shaman, who have both sort of gotten kind of what they wanted, which is a mutual conflict. Crazy. Can you believe it? And they're the ones that came to blows. Sturk's over in some shots. He's looking over. I don't remember seeing the potentially deaf dude, but I'm sure he was around.
Are you going to say anything else about Sturk?
That's literally it. He doesn't do much.
Yeah, like I think Sturk is like, I think that's interesting. It's like Ivar's going to be doing stuff without Sturk, but he is just. Yeah, I mean, I think what I love about this is like, you got this overall kind of like, particularly these early shots, like you've got Ivar kind of saying, they are our enemies, the Lunu are our enemies, and we know in Vinland Saga, you have no enemies, capture them. And then like it just kind of, it feels like everything's escalating. Like it's weird because I've had a month break since the last chapter. I'm coming in and reading this, and it's only 16 pages, so I know it's gonna be short, but somehow still I'm like getting really emotionally like wound up, and everything feels really chaotic, and it feels like, oh my word, everything's like, oh, what's happening is like capture them, and then we get this big outburst from the Squadjujo on the next page, which is like not enemy, and everybody just kind of pauses and looks at her, and she effectively calms down the whole situation. She saves the situation in a way from being a lot worse than it actually is. And like I love everybody's expression when they look at her. Everybody's just like, huh? Like, and I think the fact that she is like, I mean, as either a young lady or a small child or whatever, right? It brings a sense of innocence to it and authenticity, like you can more trustworthiness and sympathy from it. So
there's well, firstly, the when Aina points out to capture them, I wonder if he had made any move in the squad. Bugeyes' wife, potentially, maybe, or daughter. We're changing things up here. If she hadn't intervened, if Ivar had moved to capture them, what Thorfinn would have done, That might have been Punch On, but I guess we avoid that conflict. But then for that, because that kind of, it shifts you into the like, oh no, this is really bad, and then it shifts you back with the not enemy decree from our girl here, which you can see as the panel on your screens right now, chat. How incredible! It is very cute, and it is very genuine, and it is it's sort of taking you to one extreme then back to the other, so it makes you even like her like even more. It's clever. But yeah, and then her. Oh, and it's also important that it's her because she's been positioned basically as sort of the shaman's like the shaman's like closest ally, I guess. She was also seeing visions. She also initially was pretty against intermingling with the Norths and things like that. And now she's getting married. Can you believe it? But yeah.
I don't know if the Norse know that she is.
Yeah, I don't think they do. It's
different to the Gippy tribe. But...
I was just saying that it from the like the audience's perspective of like I didn't know which side she was entirely on, but this clearly shows, and it's like endearing. But
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's also just so frantic. Like she has a mix of like English, and then she doesn't know the words. She just says like the Mi'kmaq word, which I think is like she's saying vision in somewhere. Saw bad vision, you know.
Yeah,
I think that's what I've heard. I haven't actually looked into the translations, but that's the idea. Saw bad dream, saw bad vision.
Yeah.
And she's like getting really, and you can feel like she has this outburst, and then she's like doesn't know how to say it. And you go to the next page, and then like she gets this really close up on her face where she's like her tears are running down her face, and she's like getting really, and then she like starts putting like I don't know, it's just such an emotional outburst where you're just like, oh my word, like she's so desperate for them to get along,
and her grabbing
really
bug eyes is an extension of that. It's also very cute.
Yeah. Actually, now that you said like daughter, I feel like, you know, it does actually
it fits better.
Kind of work. Maybe it fits better with the trope as well. It's like the cynical father, where like Bug Eyes is very cynical and he's like not much.
It's like
effort.
Piccolo and Gohan from Dragon Ball Z. Oh my god,
we rounded it back, baby. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. So maybe that works better. But yeah, it's like.
I'll give up on my dream of like... romance in Vinland Saga Bacon, right? You killed it. I'll die.
It's never happening. Yukimura, anti-romance. He hates it.
He's always talking about his wife and those the travel logs he has in those volumes. Can you believe the no romance?
Yeah. True, for sure. Anyway, it is. She is the sweetest. Gotta love her.
We then get standoffs. Aina actually has some interesting things here where he says, Thorfinn, this isn't the atmosphere for talking anymore. Give up on treating him at the farm. It's better to send them back now. And this is something Thorfinn, obviously, in this panel, he's got a sad, conflicted face here, and this is what eventually happens. But it's interesting of the positioning of Aina here, where he's sort of being the practical one. You would think would be most on Thorfinn's side, and he was previously, but even him acknowledging that, like, well, this is kind of fucked up. Then Thorfinn facilitates their retreat, but yeah. You got something to say, Bacon?
I think with this page, when I was reading initially, there felt like such a time skip. Like it felt like, you know, we may have actually, it felt like we're almost missing a little bit of a page, but I mean, I know that is like, I don't like it. Like initially I was a bit like weirded out because we like go from her like crying.
Oh, I had the exact same feeling. Yeah,
and then we instantly like change to like, okay, well, everybody's kind of unsure now, but they've now backed themselves with their spears out, you know, like in a defensive circle. Like it feels like it calmed tensions, but they're still high. I don't know if you guys had any perspective on that.
Yeah, I felt the exact same way. I was like, I actually think page 10 actually didn't load for me initially too, so I had to refresh the page, and then I was like, oh, I definitely missed a page. Went back to check, and no. Because even it has 518 and 519 at the bottom there. So it couldn't even be a misordering. Remember when Attack on Titan, that one chapter had like a misordering of pages and it changed everybody's interpretation or something? I think that was the Hanji. Actually, I guess I shouldn't say that because there might be anime onlys here. It was the Hanji moment.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember.
It's coming back. Yeah. Oh. Anyway, we're referencing everything here today. But then what else happens? Well, I guess we get the reveal Actually, this was another. I don't want to say awkward, but because it might be a translation thing actually. But Thorfinn on the next page says, well, he's continuing to try and calm them down. Don't you understand? If we act rashly, the wounded will multiply. Shall we sully the thing with more blood? And then he says the first resort. I guess he was. Oh, I guess no. I get it. He's cut off by like the him noticing the laughing. At first, I was like the first resort, and I was like, well, why didn't he say more? But I get it now. Never mind. It's not awkward. But it is.
Yeah, it's in.
Keep going.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because on the previous page he says everybody stand back, let them go away, and then one of the villagers, like Thorfinn, they tried to kill you. Like it seems like everybody in the north interpreted it like he was trying to harm him. But anyway,
because they also don't know that Goku is the strongest fighter on Earth right here. Actually, I'm remembering now. Last time I was like, oh, he is holding the not a hammer. What's it called? The axe limply. I remember pointing that out. And that actually played into things. Can you believe it? But yeah.
Maybe we hop back because I'm probably not going to make this video now. Maybe I will. Who knows? Who knows with me, honestly? Because I have got the scripts done. But yeah, so from the shaman's perspective, everything he's doing from a Elnu perspective, from the Mi'kmaq perspective, is that it can easily be seen as a sign of peace. That's because they have this tradition of burying the hatchet, where they throw a hatchet into the ground, showing a sign of peace. And because he
understands that it's different, and he could have been
so because he's their pope, effectively he's their spiritual leader. He's the one to go do signing this ritual, if that makes sense. And so that's how the natives are seeing this. And because he has such authority and people think of him so highly, that like, even if they're like, I don't know what he's doing, he's the wisest, he will know what he's the smartest. But from the Norse perspective, they see him come out with an axe that he's stolen. It's an iron axe. It's that missing axe they had, and he's swinging it. So then the shaman set up the situation where his side will assume that he's being peaceful, and also make the implicit, make it as likely as possible for misunderstanding to occur, so that the Norse then react, and like he gets the reaction he wants, which is either swing the sword. So either just plays into his game. And that's what I was thinking. Now, that's what this video was going about, and then it kind of got confirmed this chapter. But what I do like is that, in this little picture, Thorfinn kind of says the first resort, and then he sees, and then he has a look at them, and you can kind of see all the interesting like poses of the Norseman in the background, of a guy pointing at a guy's wife, like pulling at his arm, and like a few other things. But initially, I thought he was going to focus on Pulmug's face, because like we've previously Pulmug like pick up the hand, and Pulmug's the most pro-Viking Mi'kmaq there is. Like he is the guy in the camp that last time argued against the Norse being bad, and now like you can see he's just rethinking everything, because now they've seen a weapon that is completely new to them. This kind of confirms what the shaman was saying in his vision about them having new technology, and so like you can kind of see like the clockwork going here, where Pulmug doesn't want to assume the worst. He does like them, he has. But he's got a lot to think about, basically, and that's what he was going on here. But then you kind of look into it, and then you got Gippy's face, the leader of the tribe. He's very, very he wants to do well, but he's concerned now, and you're like, oh wait, okay, what are they thinking? But he zooms in on the shaman. I'm just like, is he feeling pity for the shaman? And then it's revealed later. So I thought this was quite an interesting little like within the chapter, a little bit of a hook of like, oh, what is this? What is he seeing here? In the shaman. It's paid off when he tells him later that he's laughing. Can you believe it? But the next page actually, which we then cut to them like all walking away, and Thorfinn's very distraught about this, because who knows if they'll ever meet peacefully again, and if there'll be violent retribution and all these sorts of things. But we also get one of those, and the manga does this sometimes, where you get like there's like a white bar between just like a kind of an image. I remember because I
I think you both talked about this in the last video you made of the read through, where it was the Hild page that was like this too. And I remember when me and Bacon talked about it, we talked about it making it sort of more picturesque isn't even the right word, but like maybe picturesque is the right word. There's something about it, but it's in Attack on Titan a few times too. It's interesting, but yeah.
Well, I didn't like it in the Hild one, but I actually do like it.
Yeah, I remember
here.
somebody said they didn't like it when I was watching YouTube talk about it, and I was like, these idiots, can you fucking believe them?
I already liked it, but I like it here because it's like a divide, you know. It shows that they're now split, you know. So it's Thorfinn has kind of lost his connection there. So I think that's kind of an interesting, like, there is a barrier between them now. And I also thought this picture reminded me of the stamped field in the farmland where like Einar and Thorfinn go back and they like he sees at the farmhand. I don't know why, it just reminded me of that initially. So
when I saw the soil, I was like, oh yeah, Yukimura soil again. It's like the hands, but it's soil because he does it really cool.
It's soil.
But yes, and then we and then Ivar's just, what a bastard. He turns around and says, you know, just showed you, Lamau, swords are necessary. And this is when Hild pipes up.
And he's sheathing the sword. Yeah, he's sheathing it. Yeah, and you're like, okay, Thorfinn's about to, like, Thorfinn's face, you're just like, this guy does not know. It's about to go clown time. Oh, we're about to go. Let's go. Beat him up, Thorfinn.
But this Thorfinn bastard, what a weakling. Can't even beat up Ivar. Until he does it, officially Ivar outranks him in the power scaling thing. Unless we see otherwise, I don't see any reason to put him above it.
Yeah. Ivar had a very clean cut there. I think that's like implied that's mostly the sword, but like swords, you don't just pick up a sharp sword and make a cut that clean. So I mean, clearly Ivar maybe has had some training of sorts. So
yeah. Because the theory is that he's never actually been in a war, right? He's a big faker.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he doesn't actually know. He's a big naive boy.
Yeah.
And then Hild does what everybody wants what Thorfinn to do, and we're like, yes, Hild. Angry Hild's back.
Indeed. On Thorfinn's behalf, can you believe it?
Yeah.
What does she say specifically? Hey, Ivar, don't do any more useless things. I like the word useless. Thorfinn said not to move, so why did you move? Then Ivar says, weren't you looking, Lamau? Thorfinn didn't need you to rescue him. Thorfinn's 10 times stronger than you. For Thorfinn, taking that old man's axe would have been a simple thing. And then we got Ivar blowing it off. Can you fucking believe it? Yeah, who do you think you're kidding saved? Hild says in response, you used your sword to ruin something that could have been handled peacefully. And then we get basically the Thorfinn laughing reveal to end the chapter. Crazy stuff. Anything to say about this last stretch, particularly, that we haven't said already?
Come on, Ari.
Oh, actually,
last. Go ahead, Kyle.
No, Kyle, what are you doing, man?
Einar was doing it again. He was just sort of like, Thorfinn, I'm sorry, I don't understand their intentions either. So it's like, oh yeah, more doubt from Einar here. Thorfinn's kind of isolated, or maybe only with Hild, which is interesting, in his like wanting to meld things over and his lack of cynicism about this entire situation. But now, Ari, you've got something spectacular to say.
No, I don't. I'm just trying to think. This last stretch. Let's see. I'm scrolling through. Hild is talking. I don't know. I like the framing of the Elnu being injured. Like they were the ones who were injured today, and I think that's interesting. Yeah. Interesting way to frame it. That's it.
Oh, from Hild, huh? Yeah. And then, this is our one shot of Sturk actually. Like Sturk's got the.
Yes, indeed. His eyes.
Yeah, his eyes are big, and he's just being quiet. Like. Yeah.
Actually, that's a point I thought of. I wonder if there's 2 ways of going about this. I wonder if we will ever get an explanation for the tattoos of these brothers, or if it's like an already like just a cultural thing that we just don't know about. But it would be interesting.
Didn't you say something about that one time, Bacon?
I don't know where the tattoos are from. I do feel like I should do some research on it, because I don't think Yukimura would add them as a character design if they didn't mean something big, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it is a lot of effort to draw every single time. Like, Aina's tattoos aren't, like, simple.
Yeah, I mean, those are the two things, right? Like, either it'll be a in-story kind of reason, or it'll be like it's or in real life, it's like people have it and it means something. But yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I think it is interesting. Yeah, so like, yeah, Kyle, you made a point here. Like, Thorfinn, I'm sorry, I didn't understand the Elnu's true intentions either. I think he's just like, Aina is on Thorfinn's side. He assumes they can get peace. But after that, like he like Aina also assumed, like all the other Norse people, that all the Norse people assumed like, oh, Miss Heg is trying to use the axe, like he's trying to hurt Thorfinn. So I think that's what Aina's confused about. I don't think he's confused about the intentions of the. I feel like Aina is in his corner. It does make me wonder though. I think Thorfinn's only telling Aina this. I don't think he's telling the rest of the people. I think this is just a conversation between them.
Yeah.
But then everybody else is listening, are they? His intent was never to kill me. He meant to be killed. And so... Yeah, and like so everybody's kind of... Actually, everybody heard that. I think everybody heard that, because he's got the next panel and Hild's looking at... And that's why Sturk's like got his eyes wide open, because he's like, this is... Okay, like, so Sturk, he's like, oh, that makes sense. Like, Sturk's put it together, like, in his head. He's like, okay. And then Ivor's confused still, because his expression is like, like, that doesn't make any sense. He was clearly trying to kill you, kind of deal.
Yeah.
And then they go in and said, no, wasn't that self-defense? They started it. Yeah, it's their fault. The rest of the Lonu must have planned it as an excuse to pick a fight. Then Hill was like, theoretically, yes, but it's the non-theoretical part that is the issue here. I think that's a weird way of putting it.
I thought it was kind of cool. Non-theoretical.
Yeah,
what a thingy.
Yeah, but practically, that's probably what I'd say. Bad translation. No, I'm just kidding. It's interesting, but non-theoretical part is the issue here. The point is, are we the injured or the injurers?
Yeah.
Which one is left in pain? Let's continue. Today, the Elnu were injured by us Norsemen. They're on the run, feeling like they've lost the battle. Pain is what he dared to inflict on his people. Pain is what he dared to inflict on his people. If that is what the white-haired man is really after, he's a fierce one. Okay, so this is what Hild is saying.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's an interesting framing of like, oh, he's fierce, which tenacious. He's I don't know. It's kind of not inflating to him, not really praisatory though, kind of. So it's interesting that Hild is more thinking through what do we do next, how do we tackle this issue, more so than just being like, what a bastard, like I was being before. But it's interesting.
Yeah, I think like the shaman, like from Hild's perspective, she's thinking that, hey, we're assuming that the shaman is with Elnu. Here, she rejects that idea and says that the shaman has caused.
Yeah, he's inflicted this on his people,
Elnu much pain. Yeah. So, and then it says if the white-haired man is really after, he's a fierce one. And this kind of like ending is like similar to, if you remember way back in a load of chapters, I think it's chapter 182, and the original campfire scene with Ivar and Thorfinn with the most dangerous man. I think it's very clear at this point that the shaman is the most dangerous man, because he is so scared of war that he'll do anything to stop it. And that means cause a smaller war in the meantime. And that's what Thorfinn means by the most dangerous man. Someone who hates war but still carries it out because they don't want it. So I think that's pretty clear. Because I know for some time I was like, oh, is Sturk the one that hates war? Because he talks about being a coward and we're scared of war or whatever. But I think it's kind of clear that like the shaman is the most dangerous man. So
yes.
Not that there is just one.
There's
Kyle, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, there's an interesting thing, because I hadn't thought about the burying the hatchet thing at all. It'll be interesting if this is sort of another tenet of pacifism that Yukimura wants to explore, about like different cultures perceiving different things as violent or disrespectful in some way, and how to combat that, or how to deal with cross-cultural, not even just like basic communication, but like, I guess, customs communication, because quite literally that's what's happening here, right? We got two very different cultures trying to coexist. Will Finland become a multicultural paradise? Probably not, but yeah, it could be interesting to see. The hatchet thing is very interesting. Is there much indication that is the way they're going to go? Was there a lot last chapter and I'm just forgetting it?
No, it's literally just like, if you know historical research, because like the whole term bearing the hatchet
comes from that,
comes from the native practice. Now this, I mean, it could be a bit of a, so I don't know, you know, it is a bit of a fan theory. Who knows? Because maybe like when they look in Pulmug's face here, Pulmug's sweating, maybe Pulmug's also thinking, okay, maybe our guy has gone too far and now we've actually had an issue. But then like he's very complex because he's very conflicted because he's thinking, okay, well, our dude went too far, you know, he's the one who raised the axe, so maybe, you know,
he and Thorfinn
like,
are kind of on the same faces here.
Yeah, maybe my theory about them assuming that it's wrong, you know, like maybe they're not on the shaman side and didn't assume that the shaman was trying to bury the axe. That is just kind of fan speculation. But
I think on this page they're both sort of taken aback by what they are sort of forced by the people around them to engage with, I guess. But another thing, just this is a more general point about this chapter, is it sort of felt like I don't know, I feel like we're kind of in the same position speculatively as we were last chapter. It's sort of like we're still asking the questions of, right, how is this conflict going to happen, is sort of the thing. Not that this chapter was like a waste or filler or anything like that. It filled in a bunch of things. But it sort of just filled out last chapter, I think. It was like fleshing that out rather than sort of advancing the story, maybe. Oh no, can you believe it? I'm turning into a plot bro in real time. This isn't really a criticism, it's just interesting because now we're basically left to do speculation and predictions for however long we want to talk about them, and it's sort of like, I feel like we're in the same spot. But how does this
it is no, I think I agree. Like, it's one, like, occasionally we do get like Vinland Saga chapters, and maybe where they're very self-contained, but this one did feel like, you know, if he possibly could have got all these pages out in one month, which I don't think he would have, but, you know, like, it does feel like almost like a part 1, part 2 chapter in a way. So,
even though it's part 6 or something, isn't it?
Maybe actually,
got a great
part 6, part 6, you're good, man.
So, EliteAri, how what's happening next chapter? Tell us.
Next chapter, we will have Thorfinn talking to people because they'll continue the thing, and then you'll also at the same time have a parallel story with Pulmuk talking to his people with their equivalent of a thing.
Ooh, big brain. I like that.
I think they will. I don't know. I really like this last page. I can't remember which one of you brought it up, but the parallel of their two looks, how they look the same.
That was kind of me or something.
Good job, Kyle. It didn't even cross my mind, but I think that's a genius thing that's happened here.
They both even got one sweat.
And I think the parallel of these two could be interesting. Having those two as like the leaders who want what's best and probably know what's best, but maybe why it won't be listened to. So I think that'll be explored next chapter.
The optics and the situation are against them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if we look a little bit at the little text bubbles that are not bubbles, they're in fact the opposite of the bubbles. We're ignoring the bubbles, but on the last panel, we've got Thorfinn's group fell for old mate's ruse. A world without weapons is still far away. Next issue, Arnid's village is divided over Ivar's actions. So that's the tease. Now, if we are doing this hatchet thing, I feel like we need to explain it next chapter with this sort of dual meeting between the two groups. If Pulmuk, I don't remember his name, is talking to the blokes and is like, well, we were just trying to bury the hatchet. What the fuck were they doing? And then we can see, the misunderstanding. And then
exactly.
We kind of need that immediately if it's going to happen. If Bacon didn't just lie to us and get our hopes up for nothing.
Well, the first recorded one in history was like in the I think in the 1600s. So it is like 600 years after this. But I assume I assume they had like a tradition that would have been similar. So, but yeah, who knows? Who knows? It is still speculation.
I'll have to wait and see on that front. Anything else, Bacon? Any other predictions you want to spit out at us before we let the people go?
Good question. My prediction is that by next chapter, I'll have a really big video out, and everybody should go watch it. So keep a lookout for that. That's my prediction.
We'll have to see about that one too. But yeah, I don't know. You've soured my life. She does look short in that thing. Maybe she's just a midget, and they can still get married. Midgets deserve love too.
Whoa, Carl. We can't be having slurs like this in our chat.
Little people.
Guys, I disavow
person.
everybody. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
In terms of Vinland Saga, me using slurs,
I think I agree with Ari.
The best
I think
one.
I agree with Ari.
What did I say?
Oh, about the predictions next chapter. That's what
Okay. Yeah. Yes,
I agree. I think what you're.
Thank
makes
you.
most sense.
Well, I think that last call. Any last things that aren't predictions? Anything else, or should we send the people home happy? It was a shorter chapter, so there isn't as much to say, perhaps. But anything else, or will we send them home? Bacon?
I think that's it for me.
Okay.
That's
Good
it.
chapter.
Well, hopefully, do we know? Does it say next month, Bacon? Are we back next month?
Yeah.
We're not taking a month off?
We should be.
We should be back next month, perhaps with a few more pages and maybe some more interesting developments. Not that these weren't interesting, but more to talk about, I guess, is what I'm saying. More so we can get those YouTube watch hours up. That's what really matters, I hear. Though that might not be what actually matters. Who knows? With that being said, from Bacon, from Mr. EliteAri, from myself, we say support links in the description below. Thanks. For a second, we're keeping this in. For a second, I was like, I can't say thanks now. I got to say the thing before it. But I was going to say thanks. But now, support links in the description below.
Jesus.
Thanks. Now we're going.